link one time, it means that you have 2 minutes left. So the first speaker, Dr. Sayed. Yeah. Sorry?
Just say it. No,
okay, okay. So if you are ready, please start.
all right. All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you all have had a good day so far. All right. So I'm Syed Tahlil Hussain. I'm from University of Technology, Malaysia, and I'm representing the CURE team who couldn't be here, unfortunately. It was a small team that was built during a quantum hackathon early this year, and this project is a result of that hackathon. So what were the intentions behind this, right? We wanted to produce an algorithm that enabled us to be able to diagnose Alzheimer's earlier, specifically in the context of Southeast Asia. And so that's why we turned to quantum. And I'll get into the technicalities of all of that in a few minutes. But before that, I wanted to tell you about why we wanted, what is the problem and what is the problem that we want to tackle and why we want to tackle it in the first place. So Alzheimer's, obviously, everyone's heard of it. It is a disease that is a worldwide phenomena. It accounts for around 60 to 80% of all dementia cases. And it's just not something that affects the whole world, and it specifically affects Southeast Asia to a very large extent as well. For example, in Southeast Asia, mortality deaths related to Alzheimer's increased from 29,000 in the 90s to around 95,000 in the next 30 years. It's expected to increase by 226% by the year 2050. And so it's a dramatic increase that we're seeing not only worldwide, but specifically in Southeast Asia as well, to the point where it's been called a Alzheimer's epidemic to a very large extent. Now, the problem is not just the fact that people are becoming diagnosed. Even if we use computational methods such as convolutional neural networks or ResNets, it adds certain challenges as well. For example, the fact that there's very limited data sets in Southeast Asia to train these systems on, because a lot of publicly available data sets that we have, or data sets in general, are very Western focused. We have different physiologies than these people, we have different genetics than these people, so there's just no proper data set that is specifically for Southeast Asians, right? Secondly, there's very high computational costs in and of itself. You need very expensive GPUs. You have to have a lot of computational power as well. And thirdly, obviously, the concept of using machine learning doesn't give you much interpretability in terms of the medical aspect of it, and generalizability as well in low resource settings specifically. So how did we try and tackle this problem? Well, the targets that we tried to set for ourselves was that we have to make a early stage Alzheimer's prediction systems that can diagnose patients before there's very severe cognitive decline. How we tried to do that is we tried to use a quantum enhanced diagnostic algorithm, which gives us the ability to have like accurate and interpretable data using quantum derived biomarkers potentially. Secondly, we had to make sure that it is efficient enough to work with very small data sets, specifically in the context of Southeast Asia. And thirdly, to make it so that it can be clinically integrated within hospitals in this region, and not make it so that you have to like revamp the entire medical system to be able to use it to a very large extent. So how did we try and do that? Well, first of all, we took a very normal MRI scan, and then we put it into a light unit, which is a light segmentation model that we trained on a CAM pseudomask, which then basically what it does is that it segments out the parts of the brain that are known to be very affected by Alzheimer's. For example, the hippocampus or the entorhinal cortex, right? So we only focus our computational power on those specific regions. After that, what we did was we put it into a ZZ feature map, which is a quantum feature embedding, which basically what it does is it converts the entire image into a 64-dimensional vector. So it basically becomes numbers. So we can use, we can use that for a lot of different things. What we then did was we produced a reduced density matrix, which allows us to, specifically take the features of the image that we want and we want to utilize. And then we put it into what we call the stage classifier, which is basically a quantum convolutional neural network, which basically tells us if the patient is in a mild Alzheimer's range or a very mild Alzheimer's range, something like that. But this is something that has been, to a large extent, done before. What we then added to that was something we call the EES score, which I'll explain in a second or so. And then what we did was we combined all of these things, and we produced a 2 to 3 year Alzheimer's disease conversion predictor, which basically tells you what is the percentage or like the likability of you developing full-on Alzheimer's within the next 2 to 3 years over time. All right. So what is the EES score, or what we call the entanglement entropy score? So quite simply, it is a quantum-inspired metric that we derive from the MRI slices themselves. Remember how I told you that we take out a 64-dimensional vector from the MRI slices? Well, we can basically embed that into an equation that measures entropy. For example, here we have the von Neumann entropy, which is a quantum measure of entropy. It's not classical, it is inherently quantum, right? So what it does is it basically measures the entanglement between different sectors of the brain or different segments of the brain from the MRI scans. And so it basically tells us like the brain's spatial structure becomes noisier and more disorganized. And so there's an increase in the entropy. So we wanted to see if there's actually any correlation between the two, whether a person becoming more prone to Alzheimer's makes them more like the EES score increasing or not. So that was the primary thing that we wanted to try out. And we tried it out, and we put everything into the equation, and this is what we got. We saw that like there's a direct linear correlation between a person's stage of Alzheimer's that they're in and the entanglement entropy score. So as you can see, like the major issue with diagnosing Alzheimer's is to differentiate between a person who has like no Alzheimer's and a person who has very mild Alzheimer's. So with the EES score, you can see that if the baseline is considered to be 0 at no impairment, the EES score gives like 100% increase in the EES score, which means that it makes it much easier to be able to diagnose Alzheimer's at a very early level. So that was something that was quite interesting to us. And so it basically sets the EES score up to be a potential biomarker or a computational biomarker that can be used for diagnoses in the future. We're not saying it's going to replace every form of biomarkers that exist, but if we have more biomarkers and we integrate them all together, it just makes it a lot easier to diagnose Alzheimer's at a much earlier stage. So basically what it's supposed to give, and what it gave us initially, is something like this, where we have a primary prediction of risk where it gives us like a 78% chance that you might have Alzheimer's within the next 36 months, and it gives you the EES score. And this is all validated using publicly available data, such as ADNI or OASIS, which is European, I guess, but that's why we want to integrate in Southeast Asia. Okay, so what are our plans, I suppose, with this project? Well, first of all, in phase 1, we want to collaborate with Southeast Asian labs and hospitals to produce data sets that we can actually use to train the models on purely Southeast Asian data sets so we can have more accurate results for Southeast Asians. Phase 2, obviously, phase 2 actually integrate it over via cloud with Southeast Asian hospitals and labs so they can kind of like initially try it out and see what it's like. And then lastly, obviously, scale it up and improve it over the years. So what impacts do we have in terms of like SDGs, for example? Well, one, obviously, it promotes good health and well-being because you're able to detect earlier Alzheimer's earlier, and it reduces the burden of Alzheimer's because you can start treatment earlier and so on and so forth. It also allows better collaboration between not only just medical sectors but also quantum researchers and governments as well because publicly available data. Thirdly, obviously, it's an innovation in terms of medical technology. You're driving forward diagnosis, which is a huge market, especially in Thailand and in other countries in Southeast Asia. And lastly, it reduces inequalities. One of the major reasons that a lot of European countries are like improving in medical technologies is simply due to the fact that they have much more data. So if you have more data in Southeast Asia that we can use for like quantum research and whatnot, it just bridges the gap between those countries as well. And so this is supposed to be a video, but I don't think it can play. So this is sort of like the prototype that we have for the EES metric, where you basically upload an MRI slice and it should show you like the EES score and so on and so forth, but this video does not play, so. Lastly, what are the outcomes that we hope to achieve from this? Well, first of all, we want to create a regional MRI dataset for Alzheimer's and design a cloud-based platform for us to actually use it and integrate it with hospitals within Southeast Asia. Secondly, we want to have like multinational teams. We already have a collaboration between 3 countries in Southeast Asia, which is just like our team in and of itself. And so we want to have quantum AI for healthcare as well. And lastly, obviously, we want to have publications as well. But we want to also explore, since it is basically neural research using AI, we can expand it to other forms of diseases such as this, for example, Parkinson's or Huntington disease. So it's not just restricted to like Alzheimer's itself, although it is the initial idea, I guess. Lastly, obviously, these are like a summary of what we wanted to do. So we targeted being able to accurately detect Alzheimer's very early on, and I think that kind of shows that we have the potential to do so. We have a method that produces a potential novel biomarker that can be used purely quantum. It's not something you can do classically, although you can use classical computers, but you just need to have the entropy in and of itself is quantum. So yeah, it's quantum. Thirdly, it's you're producing a new diagnostic tool in and of itself, which you can just use on purely pre-existing systems. So you don't need to upgrade anything, or you don't need to change anything within the medical centers. You can still use the same equipment. You just need another software, I guess. And lastly, obviously, we want to be able to validate it clinically so we can actually put it into practice within public medical sectors and whatnot. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for a very impressive presentation. So now it's time for question and suggestion. Okay.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. So I understand you're using quantum. So first of all, is usual machine learning AI be sufficient? And what is the additional advantage of using quantum computing?
Right. So I think there's a few advantages just for the quantum perspective. One is that, like I said before, we have limited data sets for Southeast Asia. So quantum AI, I guess, quantum ML does better on smaller data sets just based on like overfitting. Classical ML tends to overfit the data. So it doesn't do as well using small data sets. That's one. Secondly is the EES score, which isn't quantum ML. It's just based on a quantum equation, you can say. So that one you can use a classical computer, but you just need the quantum entanglement. So what it does, it measures the entanglement between different regions of the brain, which basically simulates the structure, I suppose. If you want to do that classically, you would have to have a lot more data just for that, because you want to train it on the correlation, I guess.
Okay, please.
Okay, thank you for good presentation. You mentioned well about the problem with analyzing dementia or Alzheimer is that you have limited data sets and also imbalance. I think those are 2 different things. I'm focused on, because you said it's imbalanced data set, so it's highly possible that even you use entanglement that you end up with false positives. So how do you maintain that?
It's true, yes, you can potentially. But purely on a theoretical standpoint, if you use quantum, the risk of overfitting is reduced, because classical data sets tend to overfit the training data. And so when you actually implement it during validation, it kind of like has higher chance of false positive compared to a classical data, which is basically, if I can show you, this one. So one of the things here purely focuses on how like quantum kernels are able to produce better data classification simply based on like the ability to entangle different qubits, qubits, regions.
But using these figures, I thought that if you detect this organization, it can be from somewhere else, not necessarily from dementia. Is that correct?
Potentially, yeah. That's why I said we can expand it into different neurological disorders. It's not purely Alzheimer's, but all of this is trained on purely Alzheimer's data sets. So these, for example, an Oasis data set is only Alzheimer's patients' data sets. So we trained it on that alone and validated it as well.
Oh, okay. But it can be possible that
It can be possible, yes,
multiple
yes.
traits.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, there would have to be more research to differentiate between different types.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. That was a great question. Thank you.
I think we still have time
Sorry.
for one more question.
So can I have a quick question?
Sure.
So you mentioned the entanglement entropy score. So and you think that you said the different regions in the brain are quantum mechanically entangled. Is that right? True?
As
The
in,
distance.
no, as in, okay, theoretically speaking, yes, entanglement can happen between anything that you entangle, regardless of distance. But for this one, we're obviously using the MRI scans. So basically, the different pixels in the MRI represent the different regions of the brain, obviously. So what we try and measure is that the entropy inherently measures like the loss of, for example, if purely talking on pixels, it measures the loss of, similar to classical entropy, it measures the loss of pixelation and so on and so forth. But the only difference now is that every pixel in the image is now quantum mechanically entangled. So basically, it gives you correlation, which is not possible classically. Yeah.
Yes, may I have one more question? Yeah, I would like to know, in your presentation, you focus on the small data set. So I would like to know how large are existing data sets and what is the target number of the data set in the phase one?
So when we did the training and validation for this one, we used the OASIS datasets, which is publicly available, but it's all European datasets. I think we used around 80 MRI images for just the training and another 80 for validation. So if we want to do it clinically, we have to look at a lot of different factors, not just the EES score. We need to look, like he said, we need to differentiate between different diseases that come up. So I think we would need more datasets, maybe around 200, 300, but like that's just for the clinical validation part, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So if no more questions and suggestions, thank you so much again, Dr. Sayed. The next speaker from Dr. Nopadon from NICT. So please. So please start if you are ready.
Okay, good afternoon and thank you very much. It's my honor to be invited as a representative of the team for this project. So the project that I'm going to propose to ASEAN IVO program is a development of spectroscopic AI and IoT database using surveillance Raman spectroscopy for tuberculosis diagnosis screening across Thailand and Laos. And in this project, we have PI and co-PI from the College of Medicine from Khon Kaen University and from Laos. And me and my colleagues in NICT, we are responsible for developing the nanosensor and spectrometer to read the nanosensor and spectroscopic AI. And what I would like to inform you about this project is that we have everything ready. Actually, we already have a prototype. We have the nanosensor, and we have the data set of patients. But what we have, okay, we have a large data set of the patient, more than 1,000 patients, but that only specific to Thailand. And what we would like to propose in this project is we want to expand the implementation to the ASEAN country, that is Laos, in this project. And okay, for the background, why it's important, tuberculosis. So that is a lung disease, and okay, in the worldwide have 10 million active cases and okay, 1.5 million deaths annually worldwide. Okay, maybe it not sound like a lot, but if you look at the second one, 25% of the global population infected with latent TB. So latent TB means they have the tuberculosis bacteria in the body, but not develop the symptom yet. But from the statistic, around 5 to 10% of these people who have latent TB will develop the symptom, around 5 to 10% in their lifetime. And yeah, this one is very scary. Like, okay, in this room, I think probably like 5 or 6 people will have positive latent TB, but you don't know. And okay, because when we look at the statistic, like in South Asia, have like a 36%, that means around 4 people every 10 people have the latent TB. And in Europe or in Japan, maybe around 10%. That's still very high. And okay, in Thailand and Laos, actually is a very high burden region. Okay, for the number of active cases, maybe not a lot, but as I say, the number of latent TB, more than 30%, 36% exactly. And WHO want to reduce the number of active TB to 10 to 100,000 by year 2035. That means reduce from current number allowed to 10% to less than 10% of this current number. And that is very difficult because if we don't know who have latent TB, how we gonna stop the TB? Even we stop the people who have the active TB, but someday people who have the latent TB will become a new active TB patient. And to test the latent TB now, they use a technique called interferon-gamma assay analysis, or IGRA. That is very expensive and slow because it will take 2 days like before knowing the result. And for one test, it's cost like $50. They're very expensive. And especially in Thailand and probably in ASEAN country, when you know like who have the latent TB, you have to wait for 2 days. And a lot of time, like patients who came to the hospital, they are immigrants. And after 2 days, they were not coming back for you to give the medicine for them like to cure. So that was very difficult if we don't. That's why we need a new technique. In this project, we use the technique called Raman spectroscopy and surface-enhanced Raman spectroscopy. So this technique can give the result within 5 minutes by taking the fingerprint of the Raman surface-enhanced Raman spectrum and use the AI to identify. And in our study, recent study, we have done with the patient, number of patients in Thailand, almost 2,000 patients. Like half of them have positive result and half of them have a negative result from IGRA. And we found that this technique can give the result within 5 minutes. And the accuracy compared to IGRA is 80 to 94%. That is very high. And especially for IGRA, actually the accuracy is around 95%. So maybe who knows, maybe this technique is more accurate than the conventional technique that they use in recent day. So, okay, our team already have the nanostructure for surface-enhanced Raman. This one developed in NICT for more than 10 years and have been commercialized for more than 10 years too. And the performance is one of the best in the world, that's what I can say. And also we develop our own spectrometer too. And in this project, what we want to do is, because now we have the data set for the patient in Thailand, and we don't know when we get the sample from other country like Laos or other Asian country, the way that they collect the specimen gonna be the same or not, and the accuracy gonna be the same like what we report before or not. So that's the main goal of this project. Okay, and actually, okay, the final goal is to get the rapid and low cost and decentralized TB scanning based on AI across Thailand and Laos. And this will depend a lot of on the how strong is the fundamental of the ICT system between Thai and Laos. And because what we're going to do is we will take the system and then do the diagnosis in the community at anywhere, at any time. So, and the system will send the result to the crowd and then give the prediction for the screening test, like people, the patient or people who coming have the latent TB or not. And okay, this is a very real challenge. Like we can implement the technique that now we are developing in Thailand to other ASEAN country or not. And actually for the project, for the ongoing project, we're going to go to the community next week in northeastern Thailand to test this system. And we hope that next year we can implement this system in other countries in Laos as well. And this, I want to show the ecosystem of the method that we proposed in this project is, okay, we have the surface enhanced Raman chip that I already say like it's already commercialized and it's available to buy. And we have the publication like from only for tuberculosis. We have 3 publications already, and the last one is last year. But actually, this substrate have been proved in for many fields like forensic science and for detect the narcotic drugs. And actually, for the publication based on this sensor itself, it's more than 30 now. And we also developed the portable Raman system that can read and send the data to the cloud and send the prediction back to the system. This one also developed in NICT. Because in the field, we cannot use the benchtop Raman system for sure. This it's not movable and it's very expensive. So that's why we have the ecosystem ready. We have the chip and we have the spectrometer, portable one. And this is the method, like what we're going to do. Like we take the specimen from the patient, so that is the whole blood, and then we separate to get the blood serum from the patient, and then drop on the surface enhanced Raman chip, and then get the fingerprint spectra, and then we send the data back to the cloud, and in the cloud already have the model that do the prediction between the people positive and negative latent TB. And then we send back the data to the system. Okay, and the clinician know right away in 5 minutes. When they know, they can give the medicine to the patient, and then it just take only 6 months. This latent TB will get killed. Like actually, so that another story how we know that they get killed. But okay, actually the efficacy of this medicine is very high. Actually, for taking 1 dose for 6 months, like mostly the LTBI will be gone. And yeah, so this out the flow. Okay, it's just like previous slide. We get the sample, we prepare the sample on site. This may take 30 minutes, and then drop on the search chip, use the portable spectrometer, get the data, send to the cloud. And we hope in this project, actually this one we're going to implement in northeastern Thailand next week. That's what I told. But we hope next year we can do in both Thailand and Laos by implementing this technique. And for the output and outcome, yeah, for the scientific view, yeah, we get the new diagnostic technology and new application, like use of spectroscopic AI to diagnose TB for Laos and Thailand. And so we will know the performance, like when we get the data set from Thailand, the accuracy is still same or not when we employ in other country. And for sure, because we work with the university, so publication is still important. And for the societal impact, yeah, we will get the database for the TB diagnosis, like not only from Thailand, but from other ASEAN countries, starting with Laos. And okay, this is gonna be TB screening for the risk group. So it can do like with a lot of number of patients in a day, because it takes only a few minutes to get the diagnosis results. And so this will start a collaborative between research group in Thailand and Laos and other Asian country, and get the trained research assistant like all of this project too. And for the impact, yeah, it's broaden the application for spectroscopic AI and get the technology transfer to other ASEAN country. And we hope, like for the social impact to reduce the number of TB patients in the future and help end TB like for the WHO mission that they want to end it within 10 years and start a long-term collaboration between Thai and other ASEAN countries for this technology. And this is the conclusion. So for the target, we want to have the collaboration between Thai and Laos to get the sample to develop the real-time data transmission and network connectivity of Raman technology to support decentralized diagnosis capability between Thai and Laos. And for the method, in this project, we want to collect more number of patients. The number is 240 patients, so 120 from Thailand and another 120 from Laos, and use the data set that we already have trained to see the performance, how the ecosystem that we have been developed for many years, how it's worked with this new set of sample. And then develop cross-border spectroscopic database between Thai and Laos, and we hope like to get to other ASEAN countries like Cambodia and Burma in maybe in the next phase. And okay, we hope this new technology can really support the NTB strategy of WHO in the coming years. Thank you very much. And if you have a question, I would be happy to answer any question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for a very nice presentation. We have 6 minutes left for question and suggestion. Please.
Yes.
Usually, because I'm not expert in TB, but in the knowledge, TB is an intracellular parasite or bacteria, right? It means they live in the organism such as lung cell, epithelium cell, macrophage, something like this, right? And during the latent phase, it also live in the macrophage. And how to secrete to plasma and how much of the antigen to secrete to plasma, because it's in the cell, right? My question.
Yes. And the question is
how to secrete much more, and you can detect by your technique, because your technique is an excellent technique, right? But it's a latent, during the latent period, is inside the cell, it's not secret outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my question is how to detect it.
Yeah, we
some small sample size.
We believe that's what is detect is something secret from the cell, but we don't know. Because these are label-free techniques, that means we don't know what type of biomarker that is detect. But for the conventional technique like interferon gamma assay, so that one they detect the interferon gamma, so not directly detect the bacteria also. So yeah, we think it's maybe same analogy, but for that one they target the interferon gamma. But this one, we don't know yet because, hundreds of proteins in the blood serum. But the performance is very high, and there is ongoing work how to explain, like actually what the AI really detect, and that is still ongoing to get the explainability for this AI.
Mean your technique detect indirect, not the organism or not antigen of bacteria,
no single biomarker detected.
From such as interferon is cytokine, not the antigen or parasite, antigen or bacteria, right?
No, and that's pro and con, because the good thing is we don't have to prepare the sample a lot, so we can just detect the whole sample. But the explainability, maybe some people who want us to explain what kind of protein responsible for that, maybe it's not a single one, for sure, because the AI can learn from any feature, and there are a lot of features in the Raman spectra.
Maybe your technique detect the host response such as cytokine, chemokine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But not detect the antigen directly, right?
Yes,
Is
that
it correct?
yeah, that's possible. Actually, this technique we're not only working with the tuberculosis, we're also working with the dengue and also cancer with your team. And for dengue, actually they have the data of cytokine, and when we incorporate the cytokine data with this Raman spectra, the accuracy increased a lot too. So yeah, I think it's complementary. It could be the same thing or it could be different. Yeah, we don't know yet. No.
It's different from cancer because cancer cell can secrete antigen, can secrete DNA, complementary DNA or genetic DNA or RNA or protein, so on, right? From cancer itself. But in your case, you didn't measure the from secrete the organism, right?
Yeah, actually we don't know. But what I can tell you, like for the dengue, actually the spectrum, when we look at the two groups between negative and positive, we see some different in one area of the spectrum. But for TB and cancer, we don't see something like that. So, yeah. Yes, please.
I have two questions. First one is your diagnostic is cheaper than the standard one? And the accuracy, the second one is, does the accuracy better than the gold standard? And maybe the third one is, there are many types of TB. You have the TB on the spine or patch disease, or is it pulmonary or extrapulmonary TB? So can you also diagnose those types of TB?
Yeah, we hope so. But now we start with the large set of the specimen, but it's a retrospective sample. So we don't have other information except the like IGRA positive or negative and age. That's all. And yeah, now the ongoing work, like we get the prospective sample. Yeah, and we have that all kind of like people who have HIV positive or not, and yeah, people different kind of other lung disease that not TB but have the symptom like TB. Yeah, now we are collecting a new set of data. Yeah, to get into the better model. Yeah, to have all the factor included. So yeah, that is ongoing work, and it's a very good question. And also we hope like this one technique, it can classify like into many groups, like as you mentioned. But we need more data and data with the result from the gold standard technique.
So meaning, compared with the sputum test and other tests, does your accuracy at par with the
Sputum test is only for active TB. So for latent TB now have only IGRA. So and IGRA is not a good standard too. That's what I heard. So actually maybe we have to try to find other techniques like to train the model too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, because it's time now, I think you can discuss further in the during the break. Thank you so much, Dr. Napadon.
Thank you.
For the next speaker, Dr. Wang Phúc Wang from Vietnam. So if you are ready, please start.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to be here to present our presentation on the IVO forum. So I'm present this one on behalf of our research group with the work title of the AI Power Internet of Medical Things System for Contactless Monitoring of Dengue Fever in ASEAN. So for the member of this work, we propose we had a collaboration with professor in University of Electrical Communication in Japan, and also the professor in right here Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, and some other member from Cambodia Academy of Digital Technology. So also we had some members from the hospital for the real application. So for the background of our research, maybe you know that Asian countries face a concern about the infectious disease, especially dengue fever, because of the tropical climate. So at the information from UNICEF that dengue fever across the Asian countries is very, very crucial, very important. And in the mid of this year, in Vietnam, have more than nearly 30,000 cases of dengue fever, and we had some deaths by this disease. And also in Singapore, there are some. We also have many cases, more than 13,000 dengue fever cases, and also in other countries like Cambodia, and also. So it means that the monitor of vital signs, especially for application in the dengue fever countermeasure, is very important. So in this research, our target is that first we would like to to establish a network with some terminal in Vietnam and Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and in Cambodia, and also in some other place to connect the data for the monitor of the dengue fever. Like we use the radar device, we use the thermal imaging scanner and pulse oximeter, and we will obtain the vital sign. Vital sign means that the important information about the body, such as like the respiration rate, heart rate variation, body temperature, and blood pressure with high precision and using the signal processing and AI deep learning techniques to improve the performance of the system. And we try to propose the techniques for fast disease screening of the dengue fever patient, and we try to enable the status analysis of the dengue fever using the machine learning techniques, and we would like to provide the training for the PhD student across some university like Vietnam National University, Leiden Technical University, and UEC in Japan, NTU in Singapore, and also the KIDC in Cambodia. So for the proposed method, we will divide the work into some work package. The first one, we do like the data acquisition. So we try to propose the non-contact and non-invasive methods that we use for example, from the radar, we can scan the patient. We can use the thermal imaging device and some pulse oximeter to monitor the vital sign of the patient. And in the second package, we would like to activate the network we call the IOMT, Internet of Medical Things Network, in different locations, like in Vietnam, Cambodia, and also we would like to other countries like Singapore. And then we do the package 3 with the technique for signal processing using the machine learning. And the first step, we use some signal processing technique, like we use the algorithm to calibration and do some compensation and filtering. Is some advanced techniques for the signal processing, because the signal from many sensors needs some improvement for the quality. And then we apply the deep learning techniques for disease classification and pattern recognition for screening. And then we try to derive the vital sign with high precision, with some parameter like respiration rate, heart rate variation, and body temperature, blood pressure, and some the oximeter and BMI information. And in the signal processing state, we will do some acquisition method, like we have here we have the laser pointer here. We get the data from many sensors like radar, and then we use some transmitter. We can transmit over the network, and we do the real-time monitoring. We mean the continuously monitoring of the patient parameter, and we will apply some advanced machine learning and deep learning techniques to classify and recognize the density figure disease from the patient, from the sensor, and then we check the feature, and then we apply some neural network and deep learning for the system. And how about the impact of the project? The first one, we already have some fundamental research results we doing in our university. We established some terminal in our university, and we get the data from some other from the patient, and we try to make the showcase for the technology we develop in this project, and then we can scale up for the larger scale for the future research. And for specific impact from the project, the first one is that we can demonstrate the feasibility of by using the dynamic IOMT system for disease outbreak monitoring across the multiple infection disease. Not only the dengue fever, but also we can apply for the other disease. And the second one, we can contribute with the advanced AI-based technology solution, and we can use a deep learning technique for the development of this field in Asian country. And the third one, we can foster international collaboration for different university and institutions in Asian country and in Japan. And for the long-term vision, we would like to establish a long-term framework for Asian collaboration, and also the partner in Japan for this field of research. And we can summarize the output of our project. That's the first one. We established some terminal. The trial, we try to make the 5 China station in Vietnam, in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Cambodia, and we will get the different vital signs from the terminal there, and we can get the fast screening of the dengue fever patient, and we at least more than 100 patients and more than 200 normal people, and then we do some advanced techniques for the analysis of the system, and we can transfer with UEC's dataset in Japan, because professor in UEC Japan already has some similar dataset and result, and so we can compare and transfer with this partner. And for the publication, we will try to publish many journal and also conference paper, And we will try to organize many workshops in Hanoi, Phnom Penh, and also maybe also in Japan. And for the student training, we will engage some students from the bachelor level to PhD level to join in this project. And for the conclusion of this proposal, we would like to propose the IOMT network with the connect of the at least 5 terminals from Vietnam and Cambodia. And for the vital side, we will make the high precision derivation of the vital sign like from I just mentioned before, and also we will try to propose the fast disease screening, real time and continuously monitor of the disease with the fast dengue fever patient screening with more than 100 patients and also normal control. And for the training, we will enjoy supervision from many partners for students, and for the method we will combine advanced method from the data acquisition. We make the network, we use AI for screening and get the vital sign, and for clinical application we will collaborate with medical doctors to apply this method in the hospital. And for the impact in the science and society impact, we will try to contribute the showcase of the technology, and we will propose the advanced solution, and we will foster the regional collaboration between Asian countries and also in Japan. And we already have made some fundamental research result. I would like to share a little very short video about the result we already published in some journal, and now we estimate the fundamental research in our university with some basic vital sign. For example, here we get the data
Excuse
from.
me, Dr. Wang, we have a 6 minute left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so would you please conclude your presentation very soon?
Okay, I understand. So I just very more than half a minute. Just we get the data from the patient, and we can monitor in real time application. And here, and can get the real time vital sign monitoring from the patient, and we already has some. Yes, some result here. Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, Dr. Wang. So now it's time for the question and suggestion. So is there any comment? Okay, please.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is on the gold standard, because you have a control, and meaning you have patients who have dengue and without dengue.
Yes.
So this one, I understand that you are not creating invasive, because most of them are just contact, right?
Yeah.
So which is good, and it's a good system.
Yeah.
However, for clinical research, there's always like a gold standard, no, if you want to compare your result. For example, we know in dengue, the reason, and I think the gold standard now is the platelets. So if you record the platelets, and then you would understand that the person has dengue by when the platelet is going down. So I don't know if you are comparing this gold standard with the existing one, with your system.
You mean to compare with ours or with the traditional one? Yes, that's why we in the board member we invite some medical doctor to join this research project. So we now doing developing the techniques. So yes, you mentioned it very useful for us. So we will compare between the proposal one and the traditional one, so we can get the data. So how how the reliability of this proposal. So I hope that in this post forum we would like to invite more researchers from other countries or other institutions to join.
I think that the comment is if your skin result, you classify that this person have a dengue fever.
Yes.
So you have to compare with the gold standard because your prediction may be false or true, something like that. So, I also have the similar question. So for my understanding, the general symptom of the dengue fever is the high body temperature, headache, or less skin rash, something like that. And I wonder why do you need to monitor the respiration and the blood pressure?
Yes, I'm not the expert in the medical field, but when in our research group, we already discussed with medical doctor about this issue, because dengue fever not only the temperature, body temperature, and also other, it has some relationship between the symptom of the body temperature and other, especially the heart rate. When we had dengue fever, the heart rate also change, and the respiration rate it also has some change, and we had to connect as much as possible data. So we will change the network, the neural networks to classify the patient.
Okay, that is my comment, because in general the symptom is not like the blood pressure or the respiration, but I'm still wonder. So you may
thank you very much for
consult with the domain expert in your country.
It's very useful comment for us.
I also not the domain expert.
Yes.
We still have 1 minute left for I can accept one small question or comment. Okay, please.
Yes, I'm also working with the expert in dengue in Thailand.
Oh, really?
And seem like for the to identify dengue, seem like they have no problem with the strip test, because they can use a strip test to test like people who have the symptom like dengue, but maybe they're not dengue. Seem like strip test can just very cheap and very quick. And but what they concern is the people who will develop the severity. Like sometimes dengue, just normal dengue, and when they have the immune complex, like maybe have the dengue for 2 different serotypes for the second time, and they will develop the severity. It seems like that one is the challenge gap that they want the technique to identify that. So I'm not sure, like in your case, like if identify the dengue and not dengue, seem like maybe not a problem. Like as I know, with the expert in Thailand.
Thank you very much for your very useful comment. So that's we will because we try to get a network not only for the patient by patient, for the large number of patients, so we can get the data for not only for the treatment but also for the large scale monitoring in the whole country and in the future for the also whole ASEAN. So I can discuss with him later. We need the time.
You can discuss because it's time now.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Wang.
Thank you very much.
So it's time now. So we already finished, complete all speakers.